Hi everybody, it's Nicole from No Time for DIY. Thanks for joining me for Butterick Pattern 3350 Sew Along. Just want to give you a brief overview today. When I first used a pattern to sew my daughter a dress, which was not that long ago, I felt very overwhelmed by all the information on the packaging. I ended up using an online pattern that I printed, but I felt very overwhelmed by the packaging of patterns when I was looking for them, by all the instructions, by the pattern pieces themselves with all the markings that they had on them. Having never done it before, I was really intimidated by all of it and kind of felt like there's just no way I was going to be able to figure it all out. And what really helped me was to have my sister-in-law, who is a more experienced seamstress than myself, come alongside and kind of do a sew-along with me. It was just the two of us. We would meet up every once in a while. I could ask questions. We would check progress. And it was not only fun, but really helpful. So that gave me the idea for this sew-along. I wanted to do another dress for my daughter, and I just thought, this would be a really great thing to bring the readers alongside who also feel like they want to try a pattern for the first time, or maybe just want to do it with me because it's fun, even if you've already done a dress from a pattern before. So this video, this is post one, video one, and this is our preparation video. And for anybody who's never sewn from a pattern before, I want to give you just an overview of what you're going to be looking at and what you need to know to start out. First thing is, here's your packaging. This is what the pattern comes in and the instructions come in. You need to make a decision as to what view or version of the dress you want to sew. So I chose view G, and after you make that decision, the next decision you're going to need to make is, what size do I need to make for the little girl I'm sewing for? And in order to do that, you need to get your instructions out. It's these folded up paper instructions here from your packaging, and on the first page of the instructions down in the bottom left, they give you a body measurement chart. Get out your measuring tape, and you're going to need to measure the little girl that you're sewing for, and based on her body measurements, here they are listed, you're going to choose the size. I chose size 4 based on these body measurements, and then after that, after you have your view chosen and your size chosen, you want to come back over here to your packaging, turn it over to the back. The next thing you're going to want to choose or want to determine is, how much fabric do you need to make this dress? So this is really, it looks all complicated. It's really not. It's very simple. You've got your size picked out. I have size 4. Now, come down the chart to the view that you're going to sew. I'm doing view G. So after you find your size in your view, it tells you exactly how much fabric you need to buy in order to make this dress. I was confused by this at first. Basically what this is it's telling me I need 1 5/8 yard, sorry it's a little blurry, 1 5/8 yard of 45-inch wide fabric. So when you go to the store, a yard is 36 inches. If you go to the store and you ask for a yard, say at Joann's, usually what you're going to get is a 36-inch by 45-inch piece of fabric. Sometimes, however, you could get a yard that's 36 inches by 60 inches, and if that was the case, you would only need 1 3/8 yard of that one. So it just depends on what fabric, how your fabric was cut at the store. I have always ended up with a 45-inch cut fabric, so I'm going with this one. And don't forget, you also need to determine how much fabric you need for the lining as well for your view. So mine is, for the lining for G, I need 3/8 of a yard of 45-inch fabric there for the lining. Okay, so you determine how much fabric you need. Now you know what view you're doing, what size you're doing, how much fabric you need to get. The next thing you need to determine before you head to the store is what kind of fabric and what notions you need for this dress. Notions are things like buttons, snap, zippers. In my case, for notions, and for all the views on this package, it says that you're going to need a 16-inch zipper. So for that, I'm going to do a 16-inch zipper. It also tells me that I need 2 yards of trim. I'm not doing the trim. I determined that with my daughter. She's kind of a simple, she wants it very simple. So we're not going to do the trim. And the next thing you want to determine is, what kind of fabric do you need to buy? This tells you right here what the best fabrics are for this type of project. So I'm just using a lightweight cotton myself, and I would suggest, if you're a beginner, that that's probably what you should use too. And it'll tell you what it's unsuitable for as well. Okay, so you've determined your size, you've determined your fabric and notions, and how much fabric you need, and you can go to the store now, you can pick up everything you need. Come home, wash, dry, and iron your fabric. Don't skip any of those steps. Make sure they're washed, dried, and ironed. And the next thing you need to do is determine what pattern pieces you're going to need to cut out of all the pattern pieces, because the pattern pieces that come in the packaging are for all the different dress views. You don't need all those. It can be quite overwhelming to look at all that. Here's your list here on the first page of the instructions, and it tells you can see for the dresses, it tells you which pieces you're going to need to cut out. So for instance, for number 1, you have to cut out the tie end for dresses A, B, C, D, and E, and F. Not G. So I don't need to cut out piece 1. Okay, so what I did was I determined which pieces I needed to cut out. Here they are pictured, and I circled the ones that I knew that I needed to cut out. I only needed to cut out 4. And so that's all you have to do, and then get rid of the rest of them, or just set them aside so they don't, get in the way and confuse you. All right, cutting the pattern pieces. Here I have a sample piece for you. This is not one of the ones I need to use, because I've already started cutting, but this is, right here is a sample pattern piece from the package. I just wanted to call your attention to, these are the cut lines out here, and then based on your size, whenever it splits into all these different dotted lines, you're just going to choose whatever size. I chose size 4, so I'm cutting along these big dash lines all the way, following those big dash lines as I cut. Okay, all the way up here, there's size 4, and just follow it all the way along. And if you don't have dashed lines, that means you don't have to worry about it. Just cut along the solid line. Okay, so you have your fabric, you have it washed, dried, ironed, you have your notions, and you have determined your size and your view and all that. You now know what you have to do to cut the pieces. We're going to cut our pattern pieces out here so that we have the pattern ready to go and to start cutting out our fabric pieces next time around. Thanks for joining me. We're going to have a lot of fun. I hope to see you back here next week.